This is The Quiet End, and tonight I'll tell you a story titled The Lonely Lamppost. Let's begin. The lot was a scar on the town, forgotten by time, marked only by cracked pavement and a crooked lamppost that loomed like a skeletal sentinel. For as long as anyone could remember, tales of strange happenings swirled around the lamppost, whispers of shadows that moved when they shouldn't, of lights that seemed to possess a mind of their own. The four teenagers, emboldened by the biting chill of an autumn dare, stood on its edge, their breath misting in the night air. Lila was the first to step forward, her flashlight nervously sweeping the cracked pavement. "Come on," she urged, though her voice faltered as the lamppost flickered violently, casting their silhouettes in jagged, broken shapes. Marcus laughed, a sound that teetered between amusement and nervousness. "It's just a busted old light," he muttered, stepping in behind her. But the others hesitated. A sudden breeze cut through the lot, colder than it had any right to be. Lila stopped short, her hand reaching instinctively for Marcus's sleeve. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Ethan exhaled sharply, his usual bravado cracking ever so slightly. "Hear what?" His tone dared her to elaborate, but she didn't. She didn't want to say it aloud, the words that had slithered into her ears like ghostly fingers. Faint, pleading whispers. Jenna, standing a few paces back, yelped and spun around. "Don't pull on my jacket," she snapped. The others turned to see no one near her. Her voice quivered now. "I swear, someone grabbed me." There was a long, heavy silence among them, broken only by the intermittent buzz of the lamppost. It seemed brighter now, burning with a pale, unnatural intensity. Marcus scoffed, though his voice was quieter this time. "All of you are just psyched out. Let's go before someone decides to call us chicken." He grinned, trying to lighten the mood, but no one laughed. Finally, Ethan spoke, his voice low. "Tomorrow then, same time, we come back. Prove there's nothing here but stories." They nodded, though the promises they made felt less like triumph than resignation to something they couldn't quite name. One by one they turned and left, the lamppost behind them flickering like a dying star in the distance. They returned as promised, though the camaraderie of the prior night had soured, replaced with a stifling tension that none of them dared to address. Lila clutched a flashlight in one hand, her knuckles white, while Marcus carried the video camera, its red recording light blinking in the shivering dark. Jenna trailed behind, her lips pressed into a thin line, stealing glances at the lamppost that seemed taller and sharper than before. "It's just a stupid lamp," Ethan muttered, breaking the silence as they neared the edge of the lot. His voice carried a brittle bravado that cracked with each step forward. The lamppost flickered erratically, the light almost alive in its chaotic dance. A chill, sharper than the night before, curled through the air. As they approached, Ethan handed his flashlight over to Marcus, shaking his head as if clearing away doubt. "I'll prove there's nothing. Watch." Before any of them could stop him, he stepped forward, his outstretched hand trembling ever so slightly. "Ethan, don't," Jenna hissed, her voice breaking. Lila made a motion as if to pull him back, but it was too late. His fingertips barely brushed the cold metal of the lamppost when the light erupted. A blinding whiteness consumed the lot, harsh and unrelenting. Alongside it came a high-pitched screech, the sound drilling into their skulls like glass splintering under pressure. The group staggered back, shields of hands and forearms futile against the relentless light and sound. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the light receded, leaving behind silence as sharp as broken glass. Ethan was gone. No flash of movement, no cry, nothing. Where he had stood, a grotesque shadow was etched onto the pavement, a human shape, stretched and warped in jagged contours as if drawn by an unsteady hand. Its edges shimmered faintly, like heat rising from asphalt. Jenna screamed, a raw sound that tore through the silence, and the others bolted, their breaths ragged sobs of terror. Even as they ran, the whispers followed, soft, insistent sounds that clung to their ears like cobwebs. Faint words coiled just at the edge of understanding, promising things they did not want to hear. They didn't stop until they reached the safety of the well-lit streets, their hearts hammering like terrified drumbeats. None of them spoke. They didn't need to. The charred shadow of Ethan was burned into their minds as indelibly as it was burned into the cracked pavement of the lot. Even in daylight, the lot felt like another world, its emptiness vast, its silence suffocating. The three of them returned, each finding shallow excuses for why Ethan had vanished. "He's probably messing with us," Marcus had said earlier, though the doubt in his voice was plain. Now, as they stood before the infamous lamppost, its crooked frame looking even more sinister under the pale wash of the afternoon sun, their forced rationality began to unravel. Lila was the first to notice it, Ethan's backpack propped neatly at the base of the lamppost. The bright, scuffed fabric was unmistakable. She froze, pointing wordlessly at it. Marcus stepped forward, crouching to inspect it. The zipper was still closed, the straps neatly arranged, as though someone had placed it there deliberately, not in haste. "He's messing with us," Marcus muttered again, though his voice lacked conviction. He dropped the bag as if it burned him and spun to face Leela. "This is your fault," he snapped, jabbing a finger at her. "You were the one who dared him. You pushed him to do it." Lila recoiled, her face a mix of guilt and defiance. "I didn't force him. You all saw he wanted to prove there was nothing to be afraid of." Jenna, standing off to the side, closed her eyes and tore at the sleeve of her jacket. "Stop it," she said softly, her voice trembling. "It doesn't matter." The lamppost flickered suddenly, drawing their attention upward. The light inside the bulb pulsed faintly, twitching like a heartbeat. And then, in the glow, they saw it. Ethan's face. His expression was twisted into something unrecognizable, a mask of pure agony, his mouth open in a silent scream. His image was gone in an instant, the bulb returning to its erratic flickering, but the three of them were frozen in place, their breaths caught in their chests. No one spoke, no one dared. They turned away one by one, their heads down, their steps quickening as they left the lot. The backpack remained at the lampost's base, untouched and foreboding. The lamppost flickered faintly behind them, as though it were mocking their retreat. None of them could shake the feeling that the lot itself had been watching. Jenna hadn't been herself since that day. At first, Marcus and Lila thought it was just fear. Who wouldn't be shaken by what they'd seen? But it didn't take long for unease to settle in. She stopped showing up to school, leaving terse, vague messages in the group chat. When Lila visited her house, Jenna appeared in the doorway, her face gaunt, dark circles forming beneath her distant eyes. "I'm fine," she'd insisted, but there was a tremor in her voice, a hollow cadence that didn't belong to her. Nights became the worst for her. She told no one, but the whispers in her dreams grew louder. They beckoned her, gnawing at her thoughts until she dragged herself from sleep, haunted. "We're waiting," the voices said, faint and insidious. And though she fought it with all the force of her will, she couldn't stop herself from sketching the lamppost. Page after page of her notebook filled with its fractured frame, its flickering light. Sometimes it wasn't alone. Shadows gathered beneath it, blurry and formless, waiting. One night, the pull became unbearable. Jenna left a message taped to her bedroom wall, 4 words written in an unsteady scrawl. "They need to be seen." She tucked her notebook under her arm and stepped into the night, her feet carrying her toward the lot, as though guided by invisible hands. The lamppost was waiting, its flicker steady for the first time, as though it had stilled itself in anticipation. Jenna hesitated only for a moment before stepping into its cold glow. A single whisper brushed her ear. "Thank you." The next morning, Marcus and Lila found her. They had come to confront her about the strange silence, but froze at the sight awaiting them in the lot. Another shadow was burned into the pavement, smaller than Ethan's, delicate and unmistakably hers. Kneeling nearby, as though left in offering, was her notebook. Marcus picked it up, flipping through the pages filled with frantic, jagged lines. The images of the lamppost were nearly illegible now, as though sketched in desperation, sometimes layered over with words and symbols they couldn't understand. Lila clutched his arm, her nails digging into his skin. Her voice quivered, barely above a whisper. "What does it want?" Marcus shook his head, the notebook slipping from his hands. The lamppost flickered in reply, silent and unyielding. Whatever hunger it had, they understood now that it wasn't finished. The weight of guilt bore down on Marcus and Lila like a storm cloud, heavy and unrelenting. They hadn't spoken since finding Jenna's shadow, but the silence finally snapped that afternoon in Marcus's garage. "This isn't gonna stop," he shouted, slamming his fist onto the workbench. "It took Ethan, it took Jenna, and now it's just sitting there, waiting for us." Lila flinched at his words, but held her ground, her voice unwavering. "What do you think you're gonna do? Smash it? Burn it? It's not a thing we can fight, Marcus. It's something else." She struggled to put it into words, the truth of the lamppost slipping like oil through her fingers. "If we leave it alone, maybe it'll stop. Maybe it'll—" "Stop," Marcus interrupted, his laugh sharp and humorless. "So we just wait for it to come for us? No, I'm not going to sit here and hope it spares me, because it won't." Lila tried to argue, her words stumbling out as desperation overtook her, but Marcus had already stormed out, slamming the garage door behind him. The lot loomed in his mind, dark and mocking. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. The lamppost flickered in the corners of his vision every time he closed his eyes, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. Quietly, he slipped from his house, gripping a sledgehammer tightly in his hands. The walk to the lot was suffocating, the air cold and still. When he reached the lamppost, it flickered rhythmically, once, twice, 3 times, almost as if it were aware of his presence. Without hesitation, Marcus raised the hammer and brought it down on the post with all his strength. The impact rang out like a bell, impossibly loud. At once, the lamppost vibrated violently, emitting a low, deafening hum that grew sharper and sharper until it cut through Marcus's body like knives. And then came the light, searing, overwhelming, blotting out everything around him. When it dimmed, Marcus was gone. The following morning, Lila found herself drawn back to the lot, her heart pounding as she approached the lamppost. There, on the ground next to Jenna's shadow, Marcus's shape now joined hers. A grotesque silhouette, the two forms intertwined unnaturally as if their suffering had bound them together. Lila dropped to her knees, her breath catching in her throat as the lamppost flickered once more, its light calm and steady as though it had been satiated. For now. Lila tried to escape. She packed her bags and boarded a bus, refusing to let herself even glance at the cursed lot as it passed by. The town faded into the horizon, but the lamppost wouldn't loosen its hold. Its crooked frame appeared in every reflective surface, a shop window, the glass of her watch, even the sheen of the bus's rear-view mirror. In her dreams, the light pulsed with a rhythmic beckoning, the whispers now a deafening chorus she couldn't silence. "Come back, come back." Days turned to weeks, and no matter how far she fled, she'd wake to find herself wandering the streets at night, her feet pulling her closer and closer to the lot. When she finally gave in, it almost felt like relief. The lamppost stood waiting, its flicker less erratic now, like a steady breath. Her tears fell freely as she crossed the broken pavement, her steps unsteady but deliberate. The whispers grew louder, promising release, promising understanding. Her voice broke as she whispered to no one, "I just don't want to be alone anymore." She stepped into the light. It enveloped her, warm at first, almost comforting, before it turned blinding and white-hot. The whispers climaxed into a roar, incomprehensible and overwhelming, just as she disappeared into its glow. No scream, no struggle, only silence as the light dimmed. When morning came, the lot was still, the dawn casting long shadows across the pavement. There, joining the grotesque tableau, was another shadow, Lila's, her shape completing the macabre circle of her friends. The lamppost stood tall amidst its grim harvest, its light flickering softly in rhythm to something unseen. It waited, patient and unyielding. Waiting for whoever was next. So tell me, dear listener, the next time you pass a lonely lamppost late at night, will you dare to look into its light? Subscribe for more chilling tales, and hit the bell to stay in the dark. See you at the next quiet end.